Welcome to your role as a shop steward for your branch. This is an opportunity for you to provide support to your colleagues in the workplace and to be part of your union. This presentation is designed to give you some basic information about being a shop steward before you attend the shop steward education session. As a new shop steward, you are eligible to attend an education session within your first year of appointment. To navigate the presentation, use the mouse or simply use the arrow keys. Also, have a copy of your collective agreement handy. At the end of this session, you will have increased your understanding about the role of the shop steward, getting to know your collective agreement, grievances and professional practice, resources and supports. These topics and more will be covered in greater depth at the shop steward education session. Shop stewards are the visible presence of RNU in the workplace. They help protect the negotiated rights of members and are key leaders in the union. They have two important jobs in the workplace. They help ensure that members are treated fairly by the employer and that the collective agreement is followed. Shop stewards connect with fellow RNU members, hear their concerns, and liaise with the branch executive, management, and labor relations officers in addressing them. Contract administration is day-to-day activity and should involve the shop stewards and all unionized registered nurses. There are some key things you should have at hand or close by to be well prepared as a shop steward. They include the collective agreement. Having a general knowledge of the agreement is necessary, but when answering a specific question about the agreement, you must look at all of the relevant clauses from the first word to the last word, the relation to the other clauses in the contract, and the relation to the contract as a whole. A list of members. Keep a list of workers' names, email addresses, mailing addresses, and phone numbers. A seniority list. Grievance forms plus fact sheets and any other forms the union expects you to use, electronic or paper-based. Professional practice forms. Union Constitution and bylaws. New member info that will allow you to introduce yourself to the new members and explain to them what the union is and the benefits the union brings. Pen, paper, or notebook. When you are approached with a request, complaint, or grievance, get the information down immediately, whether on paper or on your tablet or computer. Always record the date and time. Don't rely on your memory or the member's memory for details. The important thing is that the information and the tools are at hand when you need them, and you never know when you might need them. No steward ever knew all the answers when they first took on the job. You will learn by listening to members, going to union meetings, reading RNU resources, and participating in day-to-day union activities. The first thing a steward should know are the provisions of the collective agreement. We will go over the collective agreement in more detail in a few minutes. The relationships you have with your supervisors, managers, and members is very important when monitoring workplace conditions and problem solving. Get to know who's who in your organization and pay close attention to those relationships. Get to know your union, what it has to offer, and the supports that are in place to assist our volunteers and represent our members. Become familiar with the grievance procedure in your area, some past arbitration examples, and the importance of duty of fair representation. The collective agreement is a written contract between the employer and a union that outlines many of the terms and conditions of employment for employees in a bargaining unit. The terms and conditions are reached through collective bargaining between the employer and the union. Discuss the contract with fellow stewards and union officers. Understand how its provisions apply to your members. Notice some of the more popular sections such as promotions, holidays, hours, etc. You don't have to memorize it word for word, but you must know where to look for the provisions which apply to a particular type of situation. Get familiar with the professional practice process and the grievance procedure, its steps and time limits. Know where to obtain seniority lists and, if possible, keep a copy with you. Be familiar with wages and classification. Next, we are going to become more familiar with your collective agreement. The agreement shown here is the main provincial collective agreement that applies to RNs in Eastern, Central, Western, and Labrador-Grenfell health authorities. On the cover, you'll see that this agreement was signed September 4th, 2014 and expires June 30th, 2016. In this case, although the agreement wasn't signed until September 2014, it retroactively applies since the expiry of the last collective agreement, June 30th, 2012. The specific terms and conditions agreed to in a collective agreement are commonly referred to as articles. One article typically covers one topic or subject area. Pick up your agreement and turn to the table of contents. Moving left to right, you'll see the article number, the title of the article, then the page number. Now take a moment to skim through the article titles. Do you see any familiar to you? Are there any articles of interest? Take a moment before moving to the next slide to turn to any that catch your attention. Now let's turn to Article 2, Interpretations and Definitions on page 1. You may have heard the word clause. It is a specific provision or section within an article. Each clause addresses a specific aspect related to the overall subject or article. Clauses are aimed at clearly defining the duties, rights, and privileges that each party has under the collective agreement. In this example shown here, the article is Article 2, Interpretations and Definitions, and the clauses are 2.01 A through Z. The clauses specify the terms of the article. Now let's look at Article 2.01A again. See the asterisks? Clauses changed from the previous collective agreement are noted with an asterisk. This is important to note in case you have to refer back to a previous collective agreement in order to more fully understand an article. Article 2 is a helpful article to read to increase your understanding of some of the terminology found in the collective agreement, such as day of rest, part-time or full-time employee, and shift. Different wording can have an impact on how an article is understood. Take a few minutes to familiarize yourself with these terms. Also refer to Articles 3 and 4 for some other helpful information about the application of the collective agreement. At the back of the collective agreement are schedules, A through N. Some commonly referenced schedules include step progression, contact allowance and salaries, experience credits, vacation leave, job sharing, seniority, and transition agreements. A letter of understanding is a document outlining the mutual understanding between parties without it having to be in the collective agreement. Some commonly referenced letters of understanding include annual leave and vacation, loss of seniority, statutory holidays and weekends off, part-time employees working additional shifts, flexible hours of work, community health, and classification review. Often the employer and the RNU will agree to the implementation of a pilot project, which could apply to an entire health authority or just a unit in one site. The agreed upon terms of any pilot projects are outlined in this section. These are just 3 examples of pilot projects in this particular collective agreement. If a pilot project has good outcomes, it may be agreed upon and written into the next collective agreement. A memorandum of understanding is a means for 2 parties to reach a decision. It is used to state the intention of the parties before a deal is officially signed between them and doesn't grant either of them any rights. They can be perfect in situations where a contract is too formal. These types of agreements, such as the Agreement on Pensions and Classification Plan, are not legally binding but carry a degree of seriousness and mutual respect. In contrast, a memorandum of agreement is usually a registered document that is recognized by courts of law and grants substantial rights to both parties. Examples here include the agreement regarding kilometer rate adjustment formula and nursing practice and leadership premiums. Turn to page 211 of your collective agreement where you will find an index. This is a helpful tool if you know the name or title of an article, but you're not sure where it is located within the document. Next, we are going to talk a little bit about what the shop steward should know about grievances in the workplace. There are different types of grievances such as individual, group, or policy. These can be found in your collective agreement on page 33. Sometimes it can be difficult to tell the difference between a grievance or a professional practice issue. Often it can be both. The Professional Practice Toolkit discussed next can help you make this distinction. Your role as a shop steward is to help members decide if they have a grievance or not, and to help them with completing the form. Your role is really to help the entire grievance process, right from the early discussions to submitting it to RNU office for support from labor relations staff. If you submit a grievance, be sure to see it through. Do not wait to hear back from the management at different steps of the grievance process. It is crucial to adhere to the timeline set out in the collective agreement and to continue to the next step. Grievance may be dismissed if they are not moved and advanced to the next steps at the right times. As a shop steward, you will likely be attending meetings with the employer surrounding grievances. You will learn more about the grievance process and meeting with management during the shop steward education session. Next, we are going to talk a little bit about what the shop steward should know about professional practice. As stated in the previous slide, sometimes it is difficult to tell the difference between grievances and professional practice issues. Your role as a shop steward is to help members make this distinction and to document accordingly. If it is not a grievance, is it a professional practice issue? If so, be sure to promote the professional practice at every opportunity. Be knowledgeable about the examples of professional practice issues and become familiar with the required documentation. The professional practice process can take time, but it is important to encourage members to document the evidence of an issue each and every time it occurs. Without it, there is no evidence that an issue exists. The new Professional Practice Toolkit has tools and resources that can help you and members through this process. Next, we will talk about some RNU resources available to shop stewards. There are several people on whom the shop steward can rely on, including branch executive members, regional representative, professional executive members, members of the Professional Practice Committee, other shop stewards or union mentors, or your labor relations officer. The RNU Constitution is an important document with which to become familiar as an RNU volunteer. It outlines the laws and guidelines for how RNU conducts business and makes decisions. It outlines principles that govern the union and defines the roles. It should be read and understood by RNU volunteers. For example, Section 13 of the Constitution states that shop stewards shall be elected by the membership in numbers as set down by the collective agreement. Shop stewards may be appointed by the executive committee if no more than one person stands for office. The term of the office shall be determined by the branch. Other sections in the Constitution cover other roles in the RNU, such as provincial president, vice president, etc. Read through the various roles to know who you should contact if you have a question. It can be found on My RNU. My RNU is the members-only website. Here, members can access a variety of RNU resources, such as the collective agreement, newsletters, and other publications. RNs can stay in tune with RNU news and use the discussion forum to chat with other members or get answers to workplace issues. RNU's Facebook page is open to the public. Anyone can like the page and anyone can see it. RNU uses social media to connect with members in a meaningful way. Our research with members indicate that social media sites, such as Facebook, are a preferred method of communication. Our Facebook page offers news and information, updates, as well as links to related news items. Members are free to make comments here as well as members of the public. Check the RNU Facebook frequently for news and updates. Using easy-to-understand language and examples, the Collective Agreement Interpretation publication helps members understand the various articles and clauses from the collective agreement. They are a helpful resource when trying to understand collective agreement language. It can be found on My RNU. The Grievance and Arbitration Update gives members the latest information on grievance numbers, good news stories, and arbitration cases. Having knowledge of past grievances and arbitration rulings can help the shop steward in their role representing members in the workplace. The quarterly report is published after the Board of Directors meetings. It helps keep members informed of the board's discussions and high-level decisions. It is available to members on My RNU. The annual report provides our membership with an overview of RNU's performance over the past year. It describes a series of strategic directions and goals with specific targets that RNU strives to meet every year. It is a way of being transparent with our services and your union. RNU's newsletter, In Touch, provides an in-depth look at the top issues and trends affecting RNU and its members. It is published twice a year and can be found on our website for easy reference. New developments within the Clarity Project are happening all the time. Check MyRNU frequently for the latest Clarity Project activities and initiatives. New updates and information are also found in the Clarity Project news. Would you like to get involved with this important initiative? Sign up to become a Clarity Project Ambassador. The Ambassador program is continually growing, with more registered nurses signing up to help spread the message of the Clarity Project. New ambassadors can receive I Am a Registered Nurse swag items and are able to earn cool prizes by participating in ambassador challenges. Did you know RNU is on YouTube? Visit our channel to see how we are staying current with videos that show the RN uniform and the RN role, convention highlights, and our 40th anniversary celebrations. Coming soon, our MyRNU app will go live and become more available for member download. The app offers all the great new features of MyRNU in a convenient app. Sign in once using your MyRNU account information and you're good to go with collective agreement articles, member services, latest news, and a work planner at your fingertips. We are excited for you to join the RNU volunteer team as a shop steward. We hope that you use the information in this presentation and in your Shop Steward Toolkit until you are able to join us for Shop Steward Education Days. Stay tuned to MyRNU for registration information. For more information, contact us anytime using the information on this slide.